We've helped thousands of customers pick their perfect gaming PC over the last 30 years, and we've found if you can answer just 3 questions, buying your first gaming PC becomes so much easier. People get stuck because they dive into the weeds way too quickly. Stick around, especially for question 2, because that's the one that almost everyone forgets. First up, if you're thinking of buying your first gaming PC, you're probably either moving from a console or you're a parent in care being asked to help someone you love get their first system. And let's be honest, it can be a bit of a minefield. From the thousands of articles and videos diving into the complexities of RAM speeds, PSU wattages, and even core TDPs, it's no wonder people feel overwhelmed. But here's the good news, PC gaming can be simple. When you buy a console, whether it's an Xbox, PlayStation, or even the latest Switch 2, every player gets pretty much the same experience. The same graphics, the same sound, the same performance. But PC, that's where things get really interesting. An entry-level PC will play a game in a kind of stripped back way with fewer effects, lower frame rates, but you invest a little bit more and all of a sudden you're unlocking richer graphics, more immersive sound, and faster, more responsive gameplay. And that can make consoles feel, well, kind of like a warm-up act. And that's just the start. There's a huge back catalogue of games on PC, over 500,000, many of which are free to play or just a few pounds. You can experiment without spending a fortune, and when you find the perfect game, you can go all in for some of the best gaming experiences on the planet, from open world adventures and simulators to dungeon crawlers and esports. So now you know what makes PC gaming so special. Let's answer those three very special questions to help you find the perfect gaming setup. So question 1. What games do you actually want to play? You see, not all games are created equal. Titles like Minecraft, Roblox, Rocket League and Fortnite, they're easy on hardware, but most modern PCs, even the lower end ones, they're going to run them just fine. But then you've got the big guns, the AAA titles, the Doom, Dark Ages, Cyberpunk 2077, Starfields and even Microsoft Flight Simulators of the world. These games are a whole different beast. They need serious horsepower, especially if you want to play with all your graphics settings cranked up to the max for that full cinematic experience. Knowing which games you want to play helps us figure out how powerful a CPU and graphics card you need, and just as importantly, where you can save money. Now on to question 2. This is the really important one. What monitor or monitors are you using? See, that's a question most people forget about, and it matters so much. Your monitor isn't just a screen, it's part of your gaming performance. Get it right and your games will look and feel incredible. Get it wrong and you might bottleneck your PC or even spend more money than you need. There are 4 key things to consider here. Size, curved or flat, the resolution of the screen, and finally the refresh rate. So let's break them all down. Let's start with monitor size. Measured diagonally, so a 24-inch screen means 24 inches corner to corner, is still a great starting point, but 27 inch is now the most popular size for most gamers. Ultra-wide monitors and 32-inch screens are growing in popularity too, especially for creative work or those with multitasking setups. The good news is the size doesn't actually affect your performance, it's the resolution and refresh rate that do the heavy lifting. We'll come on to that in a minute. Now, curved or flat. Curved screens look amazing. They look lush, they're fantastic, mega immersive. If you're into single player games and simulators, stuff that's not too twitchy like fast-paced shooters, kind of like your Valorants and your CSGOs, then you're going to want to stick to a flat screen. There you're going to get less distortion, better focus and easier tracking. But again, this tends to be a personal preference thing and not performance. Now question 3, resolution. This is one that really matters. Resolution is basically how many pixels your monitor shows. The more pixels, the more detail in the image and the more work your graphics card has to do to put that image on the screen. As a quick guide, 1080p, sometimes called Full HD, is great for lighter games or budget PCs. Ideal for Fortnite, Rocket League, League of Legends, games like that. 1440p or QHD, well that's the modern sweet spot. It's more detailed than 1080p, but it's quite manageable for a mid-range graphics card like an RTX 5060 or even 5070. This is going to be great for games like Apex Legends, Warzone, Cyberpunk, all on high settings. And then finally you've got 4K and above. This is gorgeous but seriously demanding. You're going to need big graphics cards. We're talking RTX 5080 and RTX 5090. These monitors are amazing for games like your Hogwarts Legacies, your Starfields, any kind of big cinematic single player games, but they're not ideal if you're on a tighter budget or you want to play competitive games where every single second counts. Now, refresh rate, aka frames per second. Refresh rate is how many frames your monitor can show per second and is measured in hertz. 60 hertz is the absolute minimum. It works, but it will feel sluggish as soon as you've tried anything better. 120 to 165 hertz is kind of the sweet spot. It's fast and it's smooth and it's kind of ideal for most gamers. Now 240 hertz and above, that's really for competitive esports players chasing every single millisecond. Most people, myself included, won't notice a difference above 165 hertz, but if you can see it, you're going to love it. Now, there's also a little top tip here. The higher the refresh rate, the harder your graphics card has to work. So trying to run 4K at 240 hertz is kind of like asking your PC to sprint a marathon in full armor. It's seriously difficult work. So make sure your system and your screen are in perfect sync, or you're going to be paying for performance that you might never see. Now, bonus point here, what about TVs? It's a question we get asked quite a lot. They do in a pinch, but be warned, they have a lot of kind of things you need to consider. They often will have higher input lag, so will feel slow. They're going to have lower refresh rates, so can feel quite kind of chunky at times. And the built-in processing that the TVs come with can kind of mess with the responsiveness of certain games. Now, they're designed also to be viewed from across a room. So that's fine, but when you're playing a game 2 feet away on a TV, it can mean headaches are pretty common as well as eye strain. If you're on a real budget, a 24-inch monitor with 100 Hz refresh rate will give you way more bang for your buck than the average household TV. Now moving on to the final question, question 3. What is your honest budget? This one's simple, but you do need to be honest with yourself. It saves a lot of time. You can build a decent gaming PC these days for around £600. But if you do that, you're going to need to accept a few compromises. Knowing your exact budget helps us find the perfect PC without wasting any of your money. And our hot tip, £1,000 genuinely has always been the sweet spot. Systems in that range often will just play everything you can throw at them today and with a little headroom for tomorrow. Now hold on, Craig, I have seen loads of people selling PCs for like £200 on eBay and Amazon, and they look kind of sick. Well, sadly, it's a growing trend of unscrupulous sellers taking 10-year-old office PCs, dropping them into flashy kind of gaming cases and calling them a gaming PC. They are not gaming PCs. At best, they will barely run the most basic of games. At worst, they're not going to run anything. The deal looks too good to be true, it probably is. And the other thing you need to watch out for is that old hardware might not support the latest version of Windows, currently Windows 11, and with Windows 10 finishing support in October of 2025, that's this year when we're recording, that means you could be buying a PC and in literally a matter of months it would be insecure. So watch out, buyer beware. So quick recap on our questions. What games do you want to play? What monitor are you using? And what is your honest budget? If you can get those 3 answers right, then buying a gaming PC becomes pretty simple and even a little fun. If you're still stuck, then we have got your back. Head over to utopiacomputers.co.uk and one of our team will help you figure it out. No jargon, no pressure. So drop your questions in the comments, tell us your answers to those 3 questions and we're going to try and recommend a spec for you. Catch you in the next one.